3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Great to be with you guys. My name is Marc Ryan, in for Zach Gelb today on the Zach Gelb Show. Coming up over the next 3 hours, my friends. She is... Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb today here on the Zach Gelb Show. Coming up over the next 3 hours, she is the reason for the season, and she is the only reason. When somebody, in this case LeBron, shows you what's important to him, believe him. The line between bandwagon fans and smart fans is a fine one. We will delineate between the two. Jared Dubin joins us on our Olympic hoops team. So who wins, these guys or the original Dream Team? And the NFL contender who will become a pretender this season. All coming up your way between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. this afternoon, noon and 3 p.m. Pacific. Here's how you can take part. You can give us a call at 855-212-4227, on Twitter at INF Sportsnet. You can get to me on Twitter at Marc Ryan on Air. That's at MARC Ryan on Air. You will see, you tweet the show. We'll get to your tweets live and on the air. Or I'm supposed to say posts now, I guess. Facebook.com/INF Sportsnet, and listen live, infinitysportsnet.com. My friends, I have been taken by something or someone in sports that I never saw coming. You know, I host a weekend show here on the all-new Infinity Sports Network, and the other weekend I opened up with two segments that I swear to you, not even a year ago, if I did this, they'd pull me from the network. Mark, you got to talk about what people care about, man. You're not talking about what people care about. But a couple weeks ago, it worked beautifully. And it's like, how the landscape of our sports consumption is changing. How it is changing. It is fascinating. So a couple weeks ago, I opened with Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Which sport has the best Game 7? And I opened up with what I'm opening up with today, although a different topic this afternoon. Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. What would have been required for us to open up with the WNBA as recently as one short year ago? You know what it would have taken? The league folding. Okay? And the topic would have been how and why it doesn't work. And I would have told you that I think women's basketball needs the slam dunk by playing this equality game of having the rim 10 feet. It negates the fact that the women are on average 7 inches shorter than the men and jump on average 15 inches shorter than the men. Add them up together, that's virtually a 2 feet difference in ball to basket proximity. And you don't have the most exciting play in the game. You don't have the slam dunk. Well, unbeknownst to me, there was one woman who could change that, who could change all of that. And her name happened to be Caitlin Clark. And on Saturday, all Caitlin did was drop 19 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, youngest player ever with a triple-double in the WNBA, as her team, the 8-13 at the time Indiana Fever, beat the best team in the league, the New York Liberty. And if she's giving you a glimpse of what she's capable of, you know, it's interesting, guys, in basketball especially, when a player is really young, you get a glimpse of what he can be. Like Kobe Bryant at age 18, 19, gave you a glimpse of the star he was going to become, but he couldn't do it consistently. And when a player gets very, very old, LeBron James right now, more on him in 5 minutes. What you see is a player who can't do what he used to be able to do consistently, right? It all kind of molds into one. Guys, Caitlin Clark dropped a triple-double the other day, okay? She is single-handedly saving the WNBA from itself. And, you know, everyone's wondering what the big deal is, why we're gravitating toward her. And I'll ask you that as we open the show today. What is it about her that makes us unable to turn away? And you know what I think it is? At the very nature, at its very essence, I think it's that she doesn't look like she should be able to do what she does. It's the Steph Curry factor. Steph Curry looks like he's a prepubescent 11-year-old. He doesn't look like he should be able to school people out there. Go back and read Steph Curry's scouting report. It still reads very, very accurate today. Slight of frame, not overly athletic, will get bodied by bigger guards in the post, will struggle to defend. All of that is true, and Steph Curry is a top 10, top 15 player of all time. He doesn't look like he should be able to do what he does. And as a result of that, we are transfixed and we are fascinated. And as it pertains to the WNBA, I hearken back to one of my favorite movies, Jurassic Park, and I want you to realize that this precise quote in the movie was the diagnosis and the prognosis of the WNBA before Caitlin Clark stepped foot in it. I segue to Ian Malcolm, Jurassic Park, speaking to part owner and operator, John Hammond.
Hold on. This is some species that was obliterated by deforestation or the building of a dam. Dinosaurs had their shot, and nature selected them for extinction.
I simply don't understand.
Yeah, we don't understand. We don't understand. We selected the WNBA for extinction. They were on borrowed time. Most of you guys don't know this, but the WNBA, the NBA, made its broadcast partners carry the WNBA in order to get the NBA. Oh, you want to buy the NBA? Okay, but it's going to cost you. You're going to have to air the WNBA. And none of us watched it. And none of us talked about it. And now, much like a supporting actor that you've never before heard of, right? But he supports Denzel Washington in a movie. Because he's along Denzel, we're curious. We want to know who he is. Now we know his name. But we never would have watched that actor's movies if he didn't support Denzel. Now we know who Angel Reese is. Okay? Now we know who Breanna Stewart is. We know who Sabrina Ionescu is. Now we know all of those things. But we wouldn't have known them before. And it's all because of Caitlin Clark. And you've got jealousy, which is perhaps the worst human emotion ever. The Chicago Sky WNBA team are guilty of this. Angel Reese just successfully notched her 13th consecutive double-double. And they say record center, the front runner. The front runner for what? For what exactly? Because if the rookie of the year is anyone but Caitlin Clark, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it about as wrong as the U.S. Olympic team did, who left her off the damn roster. Guys, you might say it's not fair for her to be on the roster. She's not one of the 12 best players. Well, she's damn close, right? She's really close, and life isn't fair. I can't tell you how many jobs I've been passed over for in my life by people I don't think are as good as I am. Okay? Passed over for the good local kid that everyone was really rooting for. You know what I mean? Passed over for this reason or that reason. Life isn't fair. If you want to hold a grudge against it about it, it's only going to hurt you. But see, the WNBA knows what it's doing. Team USA basketball does not. And I'll give you this as the example. Instead of giving us a WNBA All-Star game, the WNBA is giving us their All-Stars versus Team USA, even though some of the players are the same. And making that matchup all the more fascinating, which will be contested on July 20th, is the fact that Caitlin Clark was snubbed from that Team USA team. Are you like me? Are you going to be rooting as hard as you can for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA All-Stars in that game? And while I'm here, can we fix the NBA All-Star game as well? Can we fix that while we're here too? Because I'll tell you what will get us to watch that. You make it NBA versus the world. Very, very simple. Who's not watching that? I'm watching that. But you know why they won't do that? We will lose. The United States of America would lose. We'd realize that the success of the Dream Team in 1992 eventually gave birth to a bunch of players who were good enough to overtake us. Right now, the International claims the 4 best players in the world. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Oh, and Victor Wembanyama is about a year or two away from being number 5. All right? The NBA is not gonna run an NBA versus the world All-Star game because the United States of America would lose. Back to Caitlin Clark. What is it about her? What is her it factor? I like confident, not cocky. Caitlin is that. I like team over me. Caitlin is that. I like substance over style. Caitlin is that. Although, if I'm honest with you, she has both. She even has humility. After her triple-double the other day, Her teammate, two-time All-Star, Aaliyah Boston, national champion, couldn't believe that Caitlin Clark wasn't taking credit for her accomplishment. Here's Aaliyah.
Honestly, I'm just happy we won. Like I've said, I take a lot of pride in being able to do a lot of different things for this team. I want to be able to, I think we're really good when I can get the ball off the glass and just go in transition and find my teammates and set them up. But obviously 13 assists, that means my teammates made 13 shots off my passes. So that goes to them. But I mean, I don't know.
She's so humble, isn't she?
Well, I don't know what to say.
Let me tell you.
I mean, it's great. I don't know.
Pretty cool, Caitlin. Great job, sister.
She's humble as can be. And when you combine work ethic, drive, passion, talent, and humility, what you have is something very special. You want to know why Odell Beckham Jr. didn't reach his potential? Chad Ochocinco didn't reach his potential? You want to know why? Because if you wanted to know how good they were, all you had to do was ask them. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark doesn't get called up to the Olympic team, doesn't sulk, doesn't pout. She tells her coach, they done just woke a monster. Guys, when we don't understand something, we go to the bottom of the barrel. Caitlin Clark's popularity has nothing to do with her race. So, frankly, put a sock in it. It has nothing to do with her sexuality. So, frankly, put a sock in it. It has nothing to do with her attractiveness, although I will tell you, I think part of her appeal is that she's the complete and total girl next door. She's about as unassuming as it gets. She looks like a typical young woman in everyday America that you see in your neighborhood. And I think that's part of the appeal. Because if Steph Curry looks like he does and he can do it, and Caitlin Clark looks like she does and she can do it, by golly, your daughter, your son could do the same thing. She looks so typically American. Same with Steph Curry. And her success is an absolutely beautiful thing. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227 is the number to get to us on the show. The other thing I want to get to, for every yin, there's a yang. For every sunny day, there is a rainy one. LeBron James. Guys, what I'm witnessing with LeBron might be the most selfish offseason I have ever seen in my life. The most selfish offseason ever. He's going to take less money so they can sign free agents. They sign no free agents. He takes max money for 2 years, maybe 3. By the time that that contract's done, he's going to be 42 years old. The Lakers draft his son, Bronny James. Bronny James scores 4 points. Bronny James' 4 points are the headliner on sports websites throughout the country. Again, yet another example of how life is nowhere close to being fair. Okay? There were a plethora of very good players available that could have helped the Lakers this year with pick 55 that were not drafted. Trey Alexander, P.J. Hall, among them. Okay? Clearly, winning isn't the most important thing. And then finally, J.J. Redick, his podcast buddy, whose only head coaching experience involved blowing a whistle for 8-year-olds at a basketball camp. Guys, this is the reason. I'm hosting and living and working in Detroit, Michigan right now, and everyone wants to know why the Pistons can't sign any free agents, and it's because no one wants to go where their career is going to die. And Detroit has been where free agent careers have died over the last 20 years. The franchise hasn't won 50 games since 2007, 2008. The franchise hasn't won a single playoff game since 2007 and 2008. Well, guess where else free agents don't want to go? The Los Angeles Lakers. Why? My belief is it's because they realize the tail LeBron is wagging the dog. The Lakers. The dysfunction, the drama, the tabloids, everything that goes on with the dysfunction of that franchise, people want nothing to do with. Everybody knows LeBron is really in charge. Everyone knows he's the president. He's the owner. He's the GM. He's the coach. Everyone knows, and no one wants to take part in that. It's weird because it's the only guy like that players are running from, not running toward. And, in the media, we are so used to kissing LeBron James's backside, we don't know what to do with that. I wonder why Klay Thompson didn't want to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, on this show, anytime you hear me on the all-new Infinity Sports Network, you're going to get the truth, okay? You're going to get the truth that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell you. These guys, these star players, don't want to play with LeBron James. They don't like playing in an authoritarian culture, okay? In a dictatorship. They don't like playing in that kind of situation. So LeBron is left on an island by himself. And I'll close with this. I don't think the Lakers make the playoffs next year. I don't think they do. I think we're going to be talking about what a total debacle that is, with a player on the roster breeding resentment in Bronny James who doesn't deserve to be there, with a coach, J.J. Redick, who is intelligent, thoughtful, has potential, but potential is perhaps the second most dangerous P word in the country. Okay? He's learning the ropes, learning the way. You got a LeBron James who's going to be turning 40 years old in December. Father Time is undefeated to every athlete but one, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. So I implore you, I ask you, how does the LeBron James career end? Sadly, to me, it ends with a whimper. And it's because, in my opinion, in terms of his priorities, LeBron James has lost his way. Up next on the Zach Gelb Show, there is a certain NBA superstar you better not mention trade rumors to him. We'll share with you why. That's next. Marc Ryan here with you on the Zach Gelb Show on the all-new Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Infinity Sports Network.
Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb on the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Guys, it's like we have a problem giving credit in today's day and age, right? Like everyone steals ideas, they steal scoops, they steal leads. No one gets credit for having the scoop, for having the lead. So let me give Caitlin Clark all the credit in the world, okay? We know who Angel Reese is because of Caitlin Clark. Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, all because of Caitlin Clark. Do you know that TV viewership this year is up 180%? Okay? Do you know that ratings for the WNBA draft were up 400% this year? I wonder why. Who went number one? I can't seem to figure it out. Okay? Can't seem to figure it out. Oh, did you know that ticket sales to actually go to the games are up by 93% this year? You know, guys, that's not to say that Caitlin Clark is the best player. Nobody is saying that. What it is saying is that she has the star power to bring us to the party when we ignored the party beforehand. If it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, we wouldn't know who Angel Reese is. Okay? So, in the future, how about a little respect? Put her on the damn Olympic team. Okay? Stop the nonsense with who is really the rookie of the year. She's the rookie of the entire existence of the WNBA. Okay? And I'm actually beginning to believe that this league might now have staying power. That this popularity boon that they're experiencing may be a trend and, in fact, not a blip. Caitlin Clark, cheers to you. Time to get to News Brief, where we share...
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All right, first up, we've got Kevin Durant. Do not ask Kevin Durant about any trade rumors. If you do, here is what happens.
It's hard not to hear what they got to say about you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, because especially then you could just make up lies. Like, everybody going to believe you. Like, you could just press the KD want to leave button anytime you want some attention. Like, yes, it's for sure a button. What else is going to get people going around this time besides, the journeyman is leaving again. That storyline gonna always hit, the people. You know what I'm saying? That's why they see the alerts on ESPN on your phone. Oh, KD's thinking about leaving. That's how big that story is, which is whack. Because I'm talking to Phoenix every day, since the season ended. Like, our GMs, coaches, everybody, we've been locked in. So it's like to hear somebody say, well, Phoenix wants to get out of the KD sweeps. I'm like sitting there like, where is this coming from?
Kevin Durant is 35 years of age. Kevin Durant is going to be 36 years old before next season begins. Guys, why do we do this in the NBA, but we don't do this in other sports? We value the name over the game. Remember when we did this with Stephon Marbury, with Melo? Oh, my gosh, everyone's excited to get Melo. Oh, the only thing that adding Melo meant was that your team wasn't going to do anything. We hold on to these guys. If you study this like I do, player performance falls off a cliff at the age of 33. Okay? Falls off an ever-loving cliff. So what are we doing here? What are we doing with Kevin Durant? Who cares? He's not going to make the difference between a team winning the championship or not. The Ringer has NBA player ratings that they put out, and it's an updated thing. And there's many of these lists now around the NBA that don't have Kevin Durant as a top 10 player any longer. Okay? So, look, Kevin, I got plenty of stuff to talk about over you. As a matter of fact, I opened up with Caitlin Clark today over you, and I was wise to do so. Next up, LeBron James, fierce papa. Isn't it something how parents of all species behave the same way? Mama Bear of her Grizzly Cubs behaves the same way that LeBron James is about Bronny criticism.
He doesn't even listen to that stuff. He's like the complete opposite of his dad. His dad will say something. Yeah. Bronny does not care. Like me personally, when I was coming up, I had no choice. I literally had no choice. I had to make it out. Like I had no choice. I had to make it out for me, my mom, my family. Bronny has all the choices in the world. So it's like a whole nother, people don't understand how hard that is and the commitment. For him to be coming out of heart surgery less than a year ago, for him to be able to be in the NBA, the kid he's special, but he doesn't care.
LeBronny on Bronny James. He's special in what way? Guys, just think about this for a moment. We all chide what's fair and unfair. This is the height of lack of fairness. Everything with the Lakers embodies this. Did J.J. Redick deserve the highest profile job in the NBA? Did Bronny deserve to play for this storied franchise? Of course not. I'm going to give you an athlete that's a borderline draft pick, okay? And remove the name Bronny. The player suffers cardiac arrest a year ago. Is the player drafted if he's a borderline draft pick to begin with? No chance. No chance. And we're going to see it, and it's going to be interesting. And I value the fact that it's going to be interesting, but it sure as hell isn't going to be any good. All right? Next up, we've got Cam Newton, who has high praise for Dak Prescott, but is the praise too significant?
If you're going to sit up here and judge Dak Prescott on playoff success, and I'm looking at a list of guys that don't even have no playoff experience or not even a playoff win, I would prefer Dak Prescott over Kirk Cousins. I prefer Dak over Kyler Murray. I prefer Dak over Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert, Dak. Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Dak. Yeah. So it ain't that what I think Dak to be. It's what the market dictates Dak to be. And Dak is better than half of the guys on this list. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, Cam. He made so much sense as a player. He makes so little sense as a broadcaster. Do you want somebody who's at their best or at their worst when it matters the most? Okay? Now, Lamar Jackson is a rich man's Dak Prescott. Neither one performs when it really matters. Lamar Jackson has shown you that the regular season is not valuable because he doesn't do squat in the postseason. Okay? So why is the MVP a regular season award? Dak Prescott, poor man's Lamar Jackson. Guys, he wouldn't even be in my top 10 among quarterbacks. Ahead of Jared Goff, please. Ahead of Justin Herbert, please. Ahead of Jalen Hurts, the ultimate leader in the National Football League? You know, do you rise to the challenge? Do you shrink from the challenge? I've got a big challenge today. I mean, as somebody who grew up listening to Jim Rome, I get to follow him up on the network today. Will I rise to the challenge? Will I shrink from the challenge? Right? It's the million-dollar question. Go with those who are at their best when it matters most, and Dak, my friends, isn't even close. Steve Kerr, an awkward goodbye with Klay Thompson. Why is it awkward? Well, because Klay Thompson turned down a 2-year, $48 million extension from the Warriors to accept a 3-year, $51 million deal from the Dallas Mavericks. That math ain't mathin'. From $24 million a year to $17 million a year. Steve Kerr, right here, takes the high road.
I just want to say thank you to Klay Thompson for 13 incredible years, 10 of which I was there for. What he did for the team, the organization, for the Bay Area, for me personally, the relationship that we had, all the incredible success, but more importantly, just going through it all together has been so meaningful and so amazing. And we're going to miss Klay. We wish him the best. These things rarely go like you want, where you get to draw it up and execute it, and everybody goes out together. We were hoping that could happen, but it didn't. We wish Klay well, but we love him and we'll miss him. And Klay, if you're watching, thank you for everything.
Pure class by Steve Kerr, but you know what, guys? The Golden State Warriors handled that situation exactly the right way. What did we just say? Kevin Durant, we value name before game. The order of aim goes fame, name, and game. And frankly, it's ass backwards, okay? The Golden State Warriors moved on from Klay Thompson. Not when his ego says he's done, but when he's actually cooked, when you can take him out of the oven, because the guy's got nothing left. He might be able to provide a few bench minutes for the Mavericks, but we'll see how he handles coming off the bench. And if they do start him, I think it's going to go up in a ball of flames. You handle it with class. You tip your cap. You thank him. Steve Kerr did that because he realizes there's hard feelings there. Klay Thompson was insulted by their offer and then took less. The market dictated what his value was, and his value wasn't much at all. How about that? How about that? 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227 is the number to get to us here on the Zach Gelb Show. Up next, the line between a bandwagon fan and a smart fan is a mighty fine one. That, my friends, is next. Now it's time for a sports update with Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And Marc, we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with Life electronic device and pet health insurance. UConn has shown Dan Hurley the money. Two-time defending national champion coach gets a 6-year deal, $50 million to remain at stores. Hurley, of course, turned down the Lakers' offer of $70 million over 6 years after that weekend spent flirting with L.A. Joe Burrow feels a little bit disrespected, it seems, saying people have forgotten him after that wrist surgery. Sidelined him down the stretch with Cincinnati missing the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. On the same podcast, Burrow also gave a little update on his recovery, this courtesy of the Part of My Take podcast.
This injury was different than my previous ones because, it was my wrist. So I was I couldn't throw and I couldn't do my job, but I could still grind in the weight room and get all my workouts in. And so my off season started, 10 to 12 weeks earlier than everybody else's. And so I think that gives me kind of a leg up on the year.
Baseball, the Pirates put up a 5 spot in the 6th inning en route to an 8-2 win over the Mets. O'Neal Cruz went deep while Mitch Keller allowed 2 runs over 8 with 6 Ks. NBA, Pelicans reportedly add veteran big man Daniel Tice. In Wimbledon, American Taylor Fritz stunned 4th-seeded Alexander Zverev in 5 sets. I'm Marco Belletti.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
Marc Ryan here for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Up in the next segment, Jared Dubin from last night in basketball set to join us. 92 Dream Team are these guys in 2024. What's the score? We'll ask him next. I do want to share this with you. Okay, it's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. So what question do you have for me? What question do you have for us? Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet using the hashtag AskThePros. Hashtag AskThePros, P-R-O-S, at INF Sportsnet. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You know, my friends, here in Detroit, there is kind of a civil war going on between fans, and it's fascinating. You have one faction of fans saying they refuse to go to the games as long as they get a bad product, and you have another faction of fans saying if you're a true fan, you would support the team, rain or shine. There is a war right now on bandwagon fans versus smart fans. And allow me to say that is most certainly what the latter group is. They're smart fans, okay? I do want to share this with you. In my opinion, the dumbest fans who have ever existed in sports are the 1980s fans of the Chicago Cubs. Why? Because they sold out Wrigley Field rain or shine. And it was rain all summer long. That team sucked. And it didn't matter. Because it was a see or be seen crowd, a see or be seen moment, because being at Wrigley Field meant something, they went out to the games. And Chicago Cubs ownership looked at their wallets and they said, well, I can profit $80 million and lose, or I can invest more money in the team, profit $20 million and win. If they're selling out either way and I'm running a business, why do I need to change a darn thing? Right? Why do I need to change anything? And so the Cubs fans kept coming, and during the 80s, the Chicago Cubs kept losing. Guys, this might sound harsh, dumbest fans in the history of sports, because they didn't realize that the answer was folding up shop. Bandwagon fan is the casual who isn't really a sports fan to begin with. The Boston Red Sox win the World Series, and suddenly the dude is sporting a cap everywhere. Oh, my God. I mean, did you guys experience this where you were? Anytime that team wins, you got, and for those fans, I'm calling them the Boston Red Sox, okay? They're suddenly wearing Red Sox hats. More of those hats exist than anywhere. What does it mean anymore, right? I mean, it's like if everyone can wear the cap, it makes no distinction between somebody who just said, hey, it's cool we won the World Series, versus someone who's been waiting for that for 100 bloody years. You know, there are most certainly is a hierarchy of sports fans, okay? Most certainly is the case. And I can illustrate this. If we're talking about college, if you went to the school or played a sport there, you are the noun, okay? I went to the University of Florida. I am a Florida Gator. But if you didn't go to school there or play a sport there or graduate from there, you're the adjective. You'd always rather be the noun than the adjective. If you're the adjective, you're a fan of the Michigan Wolverines. Incidentally, the Michigan Wolverines are top 5 in America for highest percentage of fans who didn't go to the school. The best they can be is a fan of the Wolverines. They don't actually get to claim they are a Michigan Wolverine. And I make the same distinction here. If you toiled in anonymity and suffered, you get to celebrate as a member of the Boston Red Sox. But if you just threw on a hat because it's cool, because it's in style, because it's in vogue, that is the very epitome of a bandwagon fan. Now, you guys might know that we're about to have next week a video games coming out. All right? It's NCAA Football 2025, EA Sports. It's in the game. Did you like that? Did I carry that okay? Was that solid? You may not realize that game comes out next week, and there's a lot of excitement for it. There's a ton of college football fans out there. As a matter of fact, would you believe that baseball has now fallen all the way down to 5th on the sports popularity list in this country? 5th. Number 1 is NFL. Number 2 is college football. Number 3 is the Final Four. Number 4 is the NBA. And number 5 is Major League Baseball. College football is a very, very clear number 2. But college football is being ruined. And it's being ruined because people who don't actually love the sport suddenly found themselves at the controls of it. And everything is about maximizing profits, squeezing every last drop of profits that you possibly can. And you know what? The networks are worried that you're going to leave. I picked up the Lindy's College Football Preview magazine. There's an article in the front that talks all about how college football is different but still great. I was watching a major network the other day. They had a whole little 3-minute spiel about how college football is still great and your team is still your team. Well, you know what, my friends? Ask any woman what they think about a guy who tells them they're a good guy. If you're on a date and you tell your date, I'm a good guy, does the girl believe you? No. It actually makes her throw up red flags. Because if you're a good guy, you don't need to tell her. She's going to find that out on her own. Okay? I don't need you to tell me that college football is still great. I'll make that distinction for myself. And I've run my own unscientific poll, and here's what I found. 76% of people, 76% say that college football isn't to them now what it used to be. Why? All the different reasons why. How has it fallen by the wayside? Why? Well, you tell me, guys. Bowl games don't matter anymore. It's now become about the name on the back of the jersey, not the name on the front. Transfer portal, name, image, and likeness. I call it name, image, and reckless, mean that you don't even know who's on your team anymore. You know, the major network said your team is still your team. I don't know who's on my team. Okay? I gave up trying to figure out who's on my team a long time ago. It meant something when you committed to a school and you built a program over 4 years, and you don't have that anymore. And if you think about it, guys, our country is a nation of nationalist elitists when it comes to sports, all right? We only support the very best. Here's the evidence. Women's tennis. What do we like better? Women's tennis or men's tennis in this country? Can you name 5 American male tennis players? 95% of you cannot. Why? Women's tennis is better. Thank you, Serena Williams. What's more popular in this country? Women's soccer or men's soccer? Women's. Why? Because the women's team is better than the men's. What is soon to be more popular than the NBA? Could it be the WNBA, right? Because maybe the product is better. The product in the women's game on the college level is better than the product at the men's level because the women's game gives us Caitlin Clark for 4 years. The men's game gives us elite players for a single year. They have ruined the product with greed. And perhaps my least favorite example of this is when Lane Kiffin, coach of Ole Miss, says, in recruiting today, in today's day and age, the first thing every single kid asks about is money. Not tell me about your program, not how do you see me developing there, not asking himself, do I feel at home in this place, right? Not asking himself, well, since I'm probably not going to the NFL because 99% of players don't, who is the best in terms of my major, what I actually want to do if I can't play the sport? That is all out the window, okay? It's all about the greenbacks. It's all about how much money you can give me. And it's ruined the darn sports. It has ruined the sports. Guys, my belief is that the impact of money on sports has jumped the shark. And whereas it was always about money, now it's blatantly obvious, and now it is out of control. There was an NBA player this offseason that signed a deal for 9 figures, $100 million, that I'd never heard of. I do this for a living. Never heard of the guy. There are individual NBA players making $60+ million a year right now, okay? How do you expect a casual NBA fan or a casual sports fan to be able to relate to their sports heroes when there's nothing relatable at all about how they're living versus how you're living? And now we've got that in college sports as well. And when does it end? If college players are entitled to funds, high school players are as well, right? Have you seen some of the cathedrals that they play high school football in the state of Texas? I'm here to tell you, there are Texas high school football programs that gross far more money than the Akron Zips. Okay? Zip your lip if you don't believe me. Far more money than the Akron Zips. Should those guys be getting paid too? Where does it end? If you have a star Pee-wee player that you would like to play for your Pee-wee baseball team, is he deserving of money too? He's bringing parents to the games. The parents may or may not be paying a ticket price to get into the baseball field complex to see you play. Is he entitled to money too? When does it end? The correct answer here, of course, is the fact that the players were already getting paid. They were all already getting $250,000 in scholarship and room and board that you don't have to pay, that they don't have to pay. Money saved is the same thing as money earned. So whenever anyone wants to say to you, well, what about the coaches, Mark? The coaches left. Brian Kelly left from Notre Dame to LSU for more money. You know why? Because Brian Kelly is a professional. And last I checked, you go to college to become a professional. When you are a professional is when you're able to turn a profit on your chosen career field. That, my friends, is how it works. Amateur athletics were never designed to be funded. And if you want to spew to me the nonsense that it's the same way it always was, now it's just out in the open, BS. Oregon was never getting the best recruiting classes. Texas, Ohio State have the best rosters this year that money can buy. Dan Lanning at Oregon, is he a good coach? I have no idea. I do know he has the best resources. Steve Sarkisian at Texas, is he the best coach? I have no idea. I do know he has the best resources and therefore one of the best rosters. Same for Ryan Day. My friends, it's a joke. It's sad. And as a result of that, I'm not going to be buying NCAA 2025 because the only answer is, sadly, to walk away from something you love so that they get your points. All right? The sport now has to take a step back in order to take a step forward. Jared Dubin from Last Night in Basketball coming your way next. Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show right here on the all-new Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Marc Ryan here on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Great to have you guys with us. Man, we are set to enjoy the Olympics here coming up. I can't wait. I would have watched Team USA on the women's side if Caitlin Clark was on the roster. I will not watch it without. I am excited to see if we can continue our reign in the Olympics. The players, the stars have decided that the FIBA World Cup doesn't matter and the Olympics do. But if that's the case, you damn well better win it when you bring your stars. According to The Ringer, Team USA features the number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 12, number 13, number 18, number 24, number 14, and number 38 players in the NBA. Okay? It's a hell of a team. It is a stacked team. Some are saying Joel Embiid makes the roster unbeatable, makes it unfair. And I don't want to be guilty of romanticizing the past, but guys, like, to me, this team would get absolutely smoked by the original Dream Team, right? I mean, it wouldn't be even close. I don't think today's NBA can hold a candle to the best of what we grew up with. But Am I guilty of that? Am I guilty of romanticizing the past? Larry Bird in 1992 was a shell of his former self. You look at the individual games, Scottie Pippen's game was limited, right? Was limited. Chris Mullin was a little bit long in the tooth. Clyde Drexler, Christian Laettner was on the team. Some here in the Detroit area very offended that Isaiah Thomas was not on the team and Clyde Drexler was. Well, you needed Isaiah off the team for Michael Jordan to be on it. Well, joining us right now to discuss this and all matters NBA, his name is Jared Dubin from LastNightInBasketball.com. Joining us here on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Marc Ryan sitting in. What's good, Jared? How are you, man?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I'm doing well. 1992 Dream Team versus these guys. What's the score?
Well, are we playing with a league where you shoot a ton of threes? Or are we playing with zone defense where actually you can't just throw the ball into Shaq every time because you can actually prevent entry passes? Are we playing where you're allowed to double team guys? Like, it entirely depends on what kind of rules we're playing with. But
international rules. International rules. What do you say? Who wins?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm telling you, like, today's guys would win because the advances in technology and skill development and all these different things that we've had over the last, 30 years now. Like, is there anything else in the world where we would say, like, actually computers were better in 1992 than they are in 2024? Like, there's no other realm of the world where we would say that. We like to view the past in sports with these sort of rose-colored glasses. Athletes in every single sport have gotten better over the years. That's just the way it is.
I hear you. I grasp that concept. And Rick Barry, who I talked to, is a friend of mine, says you can't compare eras. He goes, you would have hated to have seen me if I had all the advantages that these guys do. I would have absolutely destroyed people. But relative to their competition, I think the 1992 team is going to go down as far better. Right?
Oh, I mean, like, it's hard to find a better collection of talent, even if some of those guys, like you mentioned, were sort of toward the tail end or beat up by injuries and things like that. Like, if you had gotten all of the guys that are on this current team in their respective primes, 7, 8, 9 years ago when, Steph was first coming into the peak of his powers, when KD was, before his various injury issues, Kawhi before his injury issues, LeBron at his early 30s instead of 40 years old. Like, it's obviously a different story. Like, the collection of talent obviously is still pretty incredible, but I think sort of maybe even on a further end than the 92 team, these guys are, for the most part, towards the tail end of things.
Jared Dubin joining us here on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Jared, why is LeBron James content to see his career end with a whimper?
You'd have to ask him. Like, obviously, he decided several years ago, like, I want to go play in L.A., whether it was for, legacy reasons or family reasons or whatever it is. I don't know that there was really a situation that he was going to engineer himself to this offseason that, like, if he landed there, they were automatically going to be, a title contender that was within any realm of realism. I don't see that team that was necessarily out there. And, that's why the Lakers drafted his son, was so that he would stay there, right? Like, they didn't draft him so he would be on the team. They drafted him so that LeBron would finish his career with the Lakers.
Jared Dubin joining us. Jared, who's your favorite to win Rookie of the Year?
Oh, man. I guess you got to go.
I'll tell you. I like Dalton Connect a lot. As a matter of fact, he was my guy for the Pistons at number 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Connect, like, is he really going to play enough minutes on that Laker team? Like, is he going to start? Is he going to be a guy that scores, 15, 18 points a game, whatever it's going to take to be a Rookie of the Year? Like, maybe someone like Sarr in Washington could end up getting minutes and just put up a lot of production. Like Sarr in Washington could just get a lot of minutes, put up a ton of production. Like, it's rarely like the guy that makes a lot of sense on a good team that helps them out. It's more often like one of the guys that just gets a ton of usage and looks really good because of it.
Jared, is there a team that you didn't consider a contender that you now do after the offseason? And is there a contender from this past season that you think will fall off?
I think you could see several contenders fall off. Like the Clippers, I wouldn't imagine are going to be as good as they were last year. I guess a team that, like, coming into the offseason, Philly had two guys on the team. So it didn't look like they were necessarily going to be a real contender. But landing Paul George and doing the rest of the stuff that they've done with their cap space brings them back into that mix. So that's a team that I would say sort of, kind of leveled back up into the group of contenders just because we didn't know who was going to be on the team. Like OKC is not a surprise contender, but I think that they sort of solidified themselves as among the very top group of teams with bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. And then I'm trying to think if any more teams sort of fell out of that mix. Maybe Miami, like there's not all that much there anymore. It's not that they lost anybody crazy impactful. Caleb Martin is, a guy that was obviously had a really good run in the playoffs a couple of years ago, but is still sort of a role player type. I'm not sure that necessarily too much has changed big picture wise. It's more like on the margins. And then the Clippers, I don't think are going to be nearly as good as they were losing Paul George. And, the Warriors may have gotten sort of a nice rebound from losing Klay Thompson and Chris Paul, but I don't know that they have sort of the top end to get back there. I'm sort of rambling right now, but it's a lot of musical chairs kind of stuff rather than teams, firmly asserting themselves as top tier contenders or really dropping out. And there's a team that just was really in the mix for the title and now is no longer there. I don't know that either of those things have happened this offseason.
Sell me on Paul George because I feel like I've already been fooled by this move 3 times. The name doesn't equal the game anymore.
Yeah, I mean, last season was one of his best seasons in quite a while. It was one of the most efficient seasons of his career. He's a guy that is an unbelievable defender, particularly in terms of doing like the team defense kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily show up all the time. There's a reason the teams are always better, with him on the court on that end of the floor. He's a really, really good shooter. He's great in terms of being like a secondary creator, whether that's, being the guy that gets the ball swung to him or beating closeouts or things like that. He's good in transition. And he's said throughout his career, like, he doesn't need to be the guy in terms of having the offense run through him. He's almost more comfortable not being that. And he's certainly got guys on this team now where he's not going to be the guy almost whenever he's on the court. They're always probably going to have at least one of Joel Embiid or Tyrese Maxey out there with him, and he's always going to be that sort of number 2 guy. And he's, given his skill set, sort of overqualified for that, but it's what makes him the most comfortable as a player, and I think what allows him to do what he does best, and hopefully will allow him to stay healthy.
Jared Dubin joining us. Jared, best and worst moves from the free agent window thus far?
I love the Thunder, like I said, bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. The Hartenstein contract is a lot of money, but when you look at the details of it, they're basically just paying him up front for 2 years. And at that point, when the contract extensions for Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren kick in, they are going to be able to decide, like, do we want to keep Hartenstein around for another year or not? And it's not going to clog up their books too much. And the way that him and Caruso sort of changed things for them in terms of giving them the kind of flexibility that they didn't really have last year to play big lineups, small lineups, more shooting, more ball handling, but, and specifically with Hartenstein to solve their rebounding issues. I think that is a really big thing for them. And then, strictly in terms of value, I don't necessarily think Tobias Harris to the Pistons is like a home run signing, but you have to spend at least 90% of the salary cap these days. The Pistons had nobody else to pay, and in a similar way to the Hartenstein contract, it's only a 2-year deal, so by the time the guys that they want to build around come up for their contracts, he'll be off the books. But, in terms of dollar value for the play that they're going to get most likely over these next couple of years, it's maybe not the best.
When you hear Steph Curry says he believes the Warriors are the last dynasty, like as you size that up and as you see it, is this new 3-tiered tax system by the NBA, is it because Kevin Durant ruined the NBA by going to the Warriors? Is it to try to ward off super teams? The Celtics seem to be able to work around it. Are they the last one? They seem to have at least a 2 or 3 year window here. Will we see? We've now seen 6 different champions in the last 6 seasons. Is the dynasty era over?
Yeah, I would say it's over until it's not. Like, there's always going to be cycles in the NBA, and I agree that basically every time the CBA comes up for negotiation, the owners try to solve whatever they thought was the big problem in the previous CBA of player movement. And it always backfires on them because they engage in this short-term thinking when they are the ones that are going to be in the league for the longest. They don't have limited shelf lives by, their athletic peaks. They're going to be around for longer, and they should be thinking more about the valuation of the franchise and the valuation of the league as a whole. But instead, they seem to be more concerned with, year-over-year spending and profit and whether a certain team can spend a certain amount. And basically, they saw what the Warriors and the Clippers did, where they were not care about luxury tax bills, and they decided that wasn't a thing they wanted to be allowed anymore. Before that, they decided that they didn't want teams to be able to offer the same amount to free agents as the home team because Kevin Durant left. And very soon after that, the Bulls decided, actually, we don't want to pay Jimmy Butler more than any other team can pay him. And the Kings decided we don't want to pay DeMarcus Cousins more than any other team can pay him. And in the previous collective bargaining agreement, they saw that Carmelo Anthony forced his way out of Denver to get extended trade with the Knicks, and they tried to outlaw extended trades in the CBA, and they accidentally outlawed extensions as a whole because it was not advantageous for anybody to do an extension anymore. Every time the owners try to do this in a CBA negotiation, it backfires on them, and I'll bet you that the next time it comes up, they're going to try to outlaw these kind of contracts that, that Bruce Brown got last year and that Isaiah Hartenstein got this year, where, they offer sort of a balloon payment for, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it takes them away from, the team that they were on and gives that guy sort of a payment that is maybe not worth what they're going to provide on the court that year, but because they're such a good player, it ends up being worth it. I will bet you that the owners try to get rid of that in the next CBA.
Fascinating stuff. Jared Dubin, lastnightinbasketball.com. Appreciate the time, Jared. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You got it. All right, Jared Dubin. Guys, the other thing is, LeBron James, it was floated that could he, in fact, come off the bench for Team USA? And LeBron today at his presser rolled his eyes at that assertion. But let's look at it here for a second. If you start the 5 best players, okay, according to the Ringer's player rankings, the 5 best players on Team USA are Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, and Kevin Durant. That gives you a 1 through 5. So if your starters are your best players, and I know it doesn't have to work out that way, then LeBron James would actually be the 7th man on this team. Anthony Davis, number 10, LeBron James, number 12, per the NBA player rankings on The Ringer. And, LeBron James can child please that all he wants. But the reality of the situation is, guys, he may not be deserving of starting for this team. LeBron James is no longer a top 10 player in the National Basketball Association. Why should you be grandfathered into anything? I'm like the Marines, man. Everything is earned, nothing is given. Up next, I will attempt to expertly transition between my dating advice for you and the ever-shortening list of American sports superstars. My name is Marc Ryan. Awesome to have you guys with us in for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show here today on the all-new Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
Marc Ryan here with you, in for Zach Gelb on the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a great 4th of July holiday. So in light of that, I had the wifey around. I had Action Jackson, my bonus son, around. And we ended up on a boat in Michigan. I think it was called Cass Lake is the lake that we were on. Okay, Cass Lake. And, you know, after the boat ride, we get the barbecue plate. And you always look forward to the barbecue plate. What is on your barbecue plate? Is it Americano, hot dogs and hamburgers? Is it ribs? Is it chicken? Is it sausage? You're saying, yes, Mark, all of the above. But I was thinking about this because I was handed a plate, and I realized these are real first world problems. I was highly spoiled in this environment. There's no doubt about it. I was handed a plate without being asked, and it had something on it that was touching the other food on my plate that deeply offended me. Okay, it really cracked my coconuts. And if you're like me, you don't like to have your coconuts cracked. My friends, I would like to ask you, and I would like to invite you guys to chime in. Stu and Colton will take your calls at 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. What is the single food item that darn well better never appear on your barbecue plate? Okay, what is that item for you? Because we've all got one. You know, and like when you're with like your madre and your padre, they just throw stuff on your plate that you didn't ask for because they're used to telling you what to eat, and you always had to eat what they gave you. But I'm now past that point. And I was out on a boat, and you come back, and, you know, the barbecue's cooking up. I was in the jacuzzi and you know, having a great time. And I get handed a plate, and I appreciate the plate. And then you're in this awkward mode where you're like, sweetheart, how do I get rid of this? What do I do? I don't want to be obvious. I will never eat this. This is never going to get ingested by me. What do I do? What is that item for you on your plate? 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. Stu Kovacs, the item that you better not see on your barbecue plate. What is it?
Yeah, so
okay, I suddenly can't hear Stu, but Colton, can we move on to you, my friend?
I'm here.
Colton,
We're trying to figure out Stu's. Yeah, I'm here for you.
Yeah, there you go. The item you must never see on your barbecue plate. What is it?
For me, definitely pickles. No, thank you. I do not want to see them on my plate. No, definitely.
How about pickled cabbage, which is sauerkraut?
No, even worse. You're making
I call it
worse.
sauerkraut. How about pickled eggs?
Even worse. Still no for me.
Pickles are a no for you. So it's the sour nature of the vinegar that is in the cucumber that becomes a pickle that offends you deeply.
You'd be correct on that. Yeah, no, definitely don't want any pickles on my plate. Nothing like that on my barbecue plate now.
Okay. Let's try again with Stu. What do you say? So we have no to pickles. Get the pickles off my plate. You know, you assume that people want all these condiments, okay? Well, a lot of people's wives don't like condiments, okay? So leave them off. Let us decide what condiments we would like to use, okay? Stu Kovacs.
Yes.
What do you say?
I moved into another room so I could have this conversation because I do not know what's wrong with the microphone in the studio. But
It's all good. It's all good.
Mine isn't like an entree per se or a side, but it's kind of like a dessert. I guess that's kind of popular during these barbecues or 4th of July meals. And for me, it's watermelon. I'm just not. I like watermelon flavored things, but the actual watermelon fruit, I just do not like and will not eat.
So you like something that's fake watermelon, but
yes,
actual
like
watermelon,
flavored watermelon, candy watermelon, like ice cream that's watermelon flavored. Like that's fine, but just like the texture of watermelon, I'm just not a fan of.
It's always puzzled me, man, how texture gets to people.
Yes.
Like my wife doesn't like bananas because the texture is mushy. It's not about the texture. It's about the taste, whether it crunches, whether it doesn't. You know, there's a hot dog place here in Detroit that serves crunchy hot dogs, and people love them. I could see how that would bother some people. So does the taste bother you, or is it the texture?
It's more the texture.
Do you know?
It's just a texture, and it's the weirdest thing. Like I said, like the flavoring, I don't think it's really the taste. I think it's more just like the biting into the watermelon and it being just kind of just all liquid. I don't know. It's just not for me.
My man Stu likes to be dehydrated because watermelon is the fruit that has the most water in it. I don't know why you want to be dehydrated, man. It's good for you, brother. It's good. Well, guys, here's mine, and I'm curious if you're the same way, and I'm going to reveal now what was placed on my plate that was deeply offensive to me, okay? And I invite your calls as well. Do not put this garbage on my plate and pass it off as food. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. Potato salad was put on my plate. Get this monstrosity that looks like puke that you have put together in a mixture of anything that comes out in a glob, I'm out. Okay? I'm not interested in your globs. I'm not interested in this. I have a perfect plate. My plate had ribs and chicken and fries and corn. Okay? That is a perfect barbecue plate. I go up to the restroom. I come back. They've globbed potato salad on here. I said to my wife, I said, you let this happen? You let this happen. You know how I feel about this. My friends, allow me to make myself clear. If the word salad is used to describe greens, okay? If greens are not involved, you do not get to call it a salad, okay? Egg salad, chicken salad, ham salad, potato salad, they're all disgusting. Disgusting. Look, I can be in the mood for a salad. I can be on a health kick. I can understand the antioxidant properties, the nutrient properties of a good salad. I can appreciate that. But how dare you besmirch the name of salad by throwing a glob of gunk together and telling me it's good? Okay? It's all disgusting. And no, it's not that I haven't had a good kind. I've had every kind. It's all awful. Okay? If you've added mayonnaise to something to make it a glob, it's gross. Ambrosia salad, disgusting. You take marshmallows and mayonnaise and like canned fruit, and suddenly this is supposed to be some delicious dish. You know, on Thanksgiving, somebody brings that to Thanksgiving every year. No one ever eats it. When does the person ever get the hint that no one wants this garbage? Okay? Potato salad, I'm out. Egg salad, I'm out. Chicken salad is a lot more like chicken something else. It's disgusting. It's not salad. It shouldn't be called salad. It comes out looking like mush. It tastes even worse. You've thrown a gallon of mayonnaise in it. Now I'm eating something bad and my arteries are going to clog as well. Okay? So can we please, for all that is good and holy, okay, stop with the unapproved items on our plates. No one asked for this. Okay? Stu didn't ask for watermelon. Stop giving it to him. Stu, how do you feel when some watermelon juice leaks over to your hot dog bun? How do you feel then? Colton, how do you feel when you bite into a pickle that you didn't realize was under your hot dog bun? Okay? You have now learned from this, and now you probably look under your hot dog bun before you dare take a bite in that. I've gotten to that place with olives. It's funny, the word olive, it's short for I'll live. Whenever I eat one of those, I die. I've died more than any human known to man because I keep ingesting these things. Why? Because they hide them under my salad leaves and I don't know that they're there. And it ruins any bite that you have. Okay? Olives is something that rotted that they decide they can serve you. And I'm not going to stand for this crap anymore. I'm not going to stand for it. I am Tom Cruise in the movie Jerry Maguire. I'm holding the goldfish above my head, and I'm saying, who's coming with me? Stop serving me olives, okay? Stop serving me pickles. Stop letting my watermelon juice go into my hot dog bun, okay? Soggying my hot dog bun. And stop giving me anything that is salad that is not actually salad. It sucks. It is awful. It is offensive to me, and it's gross, okay? Think, well, how many different salads are there? Tuna salad. tuna salad, chicken salad, egg salad, ham salad, potato salad. I'm missing some of them. They all suck. They're all trash. I don't buy a single one of them. You know, my grandfather used to get ham salad. I'm like, that looks like a mistake. It's disgusting. No one is asking for these things. When was the last time you said, you know what I could really go for? Some tuna salad, some ham salad. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Stop ruining people's plates, okay? This is supposed to be a day to celebrate America, not to run from America, all right? Yet that is exactly and precisely what we end up doing. All right, up next, I'll attempt to expertly transition between my dating advice for you and American sports superstars. That's on the flip side here on this show that gives you both sides. Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb, the Zach Gelb Show on the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Now it's time for a sports update with Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Mark, Dan Hurley flirted with the Lakers in the end, decided to remain at UConn, and now two-time defending national champ is getting himself paid. Hurley gets a new contract with the Huskies, 6 years, $50 million. Offer Hurley rejected from the Lakers. If you remember, it was $70 million over 6 years. Over the last two seasons, UConn 68-11, winning all 12 NCAA tournament games by double digits as they're looking for the three-peat this coming season. Joe Burrow working his way back from wrist injury, and since he's struggling down the stretch without him, missing the playoffs after back-to-back years of being in the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship, Burrow feels like they're being overlooked because he's been away. He's also getting more comfortable with being in the limelight, as he explained how, courtesy of the Part of My Take podcast.
I'm starting to just not really give a shit anymore, which I think is good. And it's just a very odd life, and so I'm starting to be a little more open because it became exhausting to try to keep as many things private as I wanted to.
Baseball, Cardinals, Nationals still scoreless there in the third. Pirates ripped the Mets 8-2. Mitch Keller struck out 6 over 8 innings of 2-run ball. I'm Marco Belletti.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Awesome to have you guys with us. Phone number to take part in the show, 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. On Twitter at INF Sportsnet. You can get to me on Twitter at Marc Ryan On Air. That's at MARC Ryan On Air. You'll see. You tweet the show. We'll get to your tweets live and on the air. Fabo Piva says, Marc, tuna salad blows, as does potato salad. Gross foods. Chicken salad is stupid. Guys, salad is greens, okay? You have besmirched the name of salad when it, A, doesn't involve greens, and it's no longer good for you, and now you've mixed some sort of meat with a liquid. Meats generally do not go with liquids unless you're talking about soup, okay? So please, on behalf of all of us, no one wants to hurt your feelings. Stop it with the salad mixtures, okay? We don't want chicken salad. We don't want your mayonnaise concoction. We don't want tuna salads. We don't want any of this stuff. Thank you very much. I'm Marc Ryan, and I approve this message. My friends, we have gotten too loose with something, okay? We've gotten too loose, and it's time to buckle it down. My definition for the Hall of Fame is such that if you are synonymous with your era, you belong in the Hall of Fame. If I can't talk about an era of your sport without bringing up you belong in the Hall of Fame. But it's become the Hall of Very Good instead of the Hall of Fame. I'll give you an example. Don Mattingly is synonymous with Major League Baseball in the 1980s. You can't talk about baseball in the 80s without bringing him up. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame. My favorite player of all time is Craig Biggio, okay? He's in the Hall of Fame, should not be. Was never great, was just good for a very long time. And I'm telling you that about the favorite player I've ever had in the sports. Craig Biggio shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Was good, never great. Are you synonymous with your era, right? That is somebody who's deserving of the Hall of Fame. But I digress. We are now in an everybody gets a trophy society. We've lowered our standards, and I am here to raise that bar yet again. Now we're doing that very thing with superstars, okay? Why are we doing this with superstars? I can't tell you how many times I've seen interviews. I was watching one last week, the Detroit Pistons' Cade Cunningham. We sit down with Detroit Pistons superstar Cade Cunningham. Superstar? Dear God. How about make an all-star game first, okay? A few of them. Then 10 years from now, we'll discuss superstar status. Superstar when you haven't even made an all-star game yet, okay? I am here to help us establish a high standard in this country, okay? And I'm going to tie this into you with something that worked out well for me in the dating game, okay? This is, if I could just give me a minute to give you some dating advice. Not that, I'm some expert in it, although I have been married now for 1.5 years, but I was, for a long time, kind of a serial dater, right? I never was finding the right person. I always say, if you're going on a date, calm and confident is the way to go, okay? Always approach a date. Tell yourself over and over again 2 words, calm and confident. It helped me. I think it'll help you. But in terms of whether you're interested in somebody, it was very simple. It was either a hell yes, and if it wasn't a hell yes, it was a hell no. It's very easy to describe. Do you want to see her again? If it's maybe, that's a hell no. If it's let me think about it, that's a hell no. If it's obvious to you that you want to see her again, then it's a hell yes, and then you go on a second date if she feels the same way about you. Why? Because she deserves somebody who feels hell yes about her, and you deserve somebody that you feel hell yes about. Okay? It's very, very simple. Look at me, Uncle Marc, just helping you with your dating life here on the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Calm and confident, hell yes or hell no. Very, very easy to figure out, very easy to decipher. Okay? It'll help you. Well, you know what? My philosophy on superstars is exactly the same. It shouldn't even require thought. It should be the visceral response you have in your gut when a name is mentioned, superstar or not. If you're going, well, that's not a superstar. A superstar is known. A superstar is obvious. And it has a lot more to do with than just ability, okay? I don't think offensive linemen, the big uglies, are capable of being superstars, right? Nobody knows who they are. Penei Sewell here in Detroit, one of the best offensive linemen in the league, was Pro Football Focus's highest-graded offensive lineman in the league. He could walk into a bar in Montana, and people would say, that's a big dude. No one would say, oh, my gosh, you're Penei Sewell. But if Odell Beckham Jr. walks into a bar, everyone knows who he is, right? The difference between a superstar and a non-superstar. Ability is part of it, right? Caitlin Clark is the first superstar that's ever existed in the WNBA, right? But when we really get down to it, the list of superstars in sports is surprisingly small. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you the official list of superstars in the 3 major sports. And I'm sure you're going to agree with each and every one of them. If you have a dispute, if I've left somebody out, you can give us a call at 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. Now, the first time I ever did this exercise was a couple years ago. I went and I found that document. And I said, oh, my goodness gracious, man. There's people on this list that no longer qualify as a superstar. So here's who's been removed. Kevin Durant, Ja Morant, Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi not, because he misses more games than he plays. Aaron Donald, who now retired. Can you believe 2 years ago I had Russell Wilson listed as a superstar? 2 years ago I had Saquon Barkley as a superstar. Now both are off the list. A couple years ago I had Vlad Guerrero Jr. on the superstar list. He's since lost his power. I don't know what happened to it. It's on the milk carton. If anybody sees it, please contact your local authorities. So, here you go, my friends. without further ado, my list of superstars in the three major sports are as follows. In basketball, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Jokic, LeBron, Luka, Jason Tatum. Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Victor Wembanyama, and Zion Williamson. Superstars in the National Basketball Association. How about superstars in the NFL? Aaron Rodgers, much to my dismay, because his play isn't going to be superstar caliber anymore, but he most certainly is a superstar. Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson, Micah Parsons, Patrick Mahomes, TJ Watt, Travis Kelce, ABCD Lamb, Christian McCaffrey, newly married, congratulations Christian, Myles Garrett, Tyreek Hill are now on the list of NFL superstars. And Major League Baseball, the list of superstars. Who qualifies? My opinion, it's obvious. And again, very clear, very easy, very obvious, hell yes or hell no. Okay? It's an immediate, visceral reaction. You know it when you see it. Superstars in Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, Bobby Witt Jr., Corey Seager, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Trey Turner. And that's it. That's it, my friends. I just gave you a list 39 players long. And that's all. Those are the superstars in the three major American sports. Can we please stop? Okay? Can we please stop with this notion that everybody's a superstar? Can we please reserve our most valuable adjectives for people who actually meet the criteria? Okay? Can we please do that? Because you guys are attaching the term superstar to everybody today. And it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Now, I'll go around the room here, Colton and Stu, and I'll ask you guys, did I leave anybody out? And I'll ask you, did I leave anybody out? 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. I want it to mean something. Because the reality is, folks, there is no depiction that is more highly valued or highly regarded than that of superstar. That is as high as you can get. And if your play doesn't merit that, if your fame doesn't merit that, you do not belong on this list in any way, shape, or form. Period. End of story. Thanks for playing. Colton Gesser, did I leave anybody off the list that you consider a superstar?
I think you have a guy on the list that I have a problem with.
Oh, really? Let's hear it.
Mike
what
Trout.
Do you got?
Mike Trout is the guy for me that should not be on this list.
Well, is he not a superstar?
He
Why
was
not?
5 years ago when he actually played. Doesn't play. Does not play
well,
anymore.
That's true. That's true. And he also plays for an organization where all players go to die, right? When's the last time you saw Mike Trout play in a game? Injury or no injury, doesn't play, collects his paycheck, right? I'll never forget this, Colton. I got into a heated debate with baseball writer Keith Law. Guy's got like 500,000, 1 million followers. And he was arguing with me that the Mike Trout deal was the no-brainer smart deal for the Angels to make. And I said, they're not going to win a single thing with him because the owner will not spend the money. The deal they gave Mike Trout ensured that they're not going to win a bloody thing. And that's exactly what's happened. And I don't know why Mike Trout is okay with this. He's okay not being in the limelight. That's fine. But he's okay with being irrelevant. He's okay with us forgetting about him. His ability most assuredly declares himself as a superstar. But if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, does it make a sound? Does it make a sound? I'm not sure we can answer that conclusively with Mike Trout. I'm not sure the answer to that is yes. I'm really not. And here we are, kicking around superstar status, superstar debate with guys who we cannot affirmatively say fit the bill, fit the criteria. Okay? And therein lies the rub. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227 is the number to get to us on the show. I want to establish standards again in the United States of America. Standards are something that is very, very, very important to me. And we're getting loose with it. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that at all. Interestingly, the NBA added more superstars in the last couple years than did any other sport. It's been the rise of the NBA and the replacing of LeBron James as the face of the NBA. Is the next face of the NBA Victor Wembanyama? Would we allow a foreigner to be the face of our sports? Right? Could Luka Doncic be the face? Could Nikola Jokic be the face? Or is that title not available to them because they are not American? That's what I believe, folks. I believe you've got to have the game. You also have to have an element of flair to who you are as a player, as a person. Therefore, if the market will allow it, I think the next face of the NBA is Anthony Edwards. My only concern is he plays in Minnesota. Okay? Can Anthony Edwards make Minnesota must-watch primetime TV? Will we allow him to do that with the market of Minnesota like we did for John Stockton and Karl Malone? Will we allow that to happen? I don't know the answer to that. But when I consider the fact that LeBron James is now passing the torch, face of the NBA, from one player to another, my belief is that Anthony Edwards has as much of a say, has as much of a pitch as does anybody. Your thoughts on this, welcome. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227, the number to get to us on the show. All right, up next, each of the last 3 years there's been a contender in the NFL that has fallen off the map. So who's it going to be this year? My name is Marc Ryan, in for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show, right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Marc Ryan here with you, in for Zach Gelb on the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Great to have you guys with us here on the show. Look, guys, we've shared our list of superstars with you. I think we need to have a much stronger criteria. We've shared with you why Caitlin Clark is the reason for the season and the only reason why we're watching the WNBA, and people need to recognize and honor her as such. And I'm pondering why in the heck LeBron James is willing for his career to go out with a whimper. The most selfish offseason I think I've ever had from a so-called superstar. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. We go to the phones, and Mike in Tennessee joins us. Hey, Mike, you're on the Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network. What's good, man?
Well, obviously I am, and you are too. Thank you very much. Just two quick things. We'll start with the easy one. Okay, you said Craig Biggio is just your favorite player, right?
He's my favorite player of all time, yes.
And that's a fine choice, but you don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to start with this. Do you know how many people in Major League history have had over 3,000 hits?
I don't care about longevity stats.
No,
I care about how good you are.
33, okay. And that's it. I don't know how many people play baseball, but only 33 people have had that. And I know he held a pretty strong average too. And I know he played like second and catcher.
You know what it is? You know what the average is? 281. Is that a Hall of Famer to you?
Ooh, 3,000 hits. He's not, but anyway, that's
okay.
not,
But see, but what you are
good.
doing though, what you are doing though, is you want to honor a 20-year career. You want to honor longevity. I want to honor greatness. You're going to get a lot of hits if you play for a long time, and you're good.
There's a lot of
and
people
he
that
was
played
good.
20 years that didn't get 3,000 hits. I promise you that there is more people that played as long as he did that don't have 2,000 hits, much less 3,000. I think he was over like 3,300. And, man, 3,000, that's a pretty big milestone. There's only 2 players that have over 3,000 hits not even in the Hall of Fame.
Mike,
and
but
Rose and Palmeiro.
that's your calling card. That's what you're going at. You keep throwing out this 3,000 hits thing.
Yeah,
I want to talk greatness. I want to talk greatness. I want to talk greatness. Okay? I saw a player who was very good. I loved a player that was very good. I very seldom saw greatness.
Okay, well, you know what? I can accept that. Because, I mean, it's like, here we go. So, well, now I don't even want to go to another one. Now, chicken salad. You said you don't like chicken salad, right? You've never
Garbage.
had my
Utter
chicken
garbage.
salad.
Throw it. That's what everybody says. That's what everybody says. And, Mike, I'm not interested in hurting your feelings, okay?
Oh, yeah,
but I've had all the chicken
you know,
salad. It's all garbage. It's all garbage.
But do you like, let me ask you this. Have you ever had chicken salad with grapes in it?
Please, no. Dear God, no.
White seedless grapes, celery. Take the choice, nuts of your choice, be it almonds, cashews, walnuts. Almonds are really probably the best. Nothing but roasted white chicken, just roasted chicken, and then the proper spices. Doesn't need to be sloppy. It needs, and put it on a nice little croissant. Oh, yeah, it's good. But, yeah, white Thompson seedless grapes with the celery. You get some crunch. You've got your veggies. You've got your white meat in there. And everybody doesn't like everything, and that's all good and well.
Michael, I gotta tell you, your white seedless grapes creates a nauseous seedless Marc, and I don't need that in my life. I don't need that in my life. Not really.
Okay, well that's understandable. Well, that's okay. I'm understandable, but either way, it's okay not to like. I love grapes, and they're really good if you take.
So, Mike, let me ask you this. What is the food that you do not want to see on your barbecue plate? What is it?
On my barbecue plate. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm from the South. When you say barbecue, you see out here we grill out. We don't barbecue. It's called grill out. But on my barbecue plate, on a barbecue plate. Well, I like, as far as a barbecue, that means you're going to be grilling it.
Right.
So,
but like what food? Broccoli, corn. What food do you not want to see there?
Well, you need some type of cool something that goes in with it. Some type of cool, as far as when I say cool, not hip, but cool, like, side that's like that. What would I not want to see as a side? Well, I don't like peas. So, I mean, I don't care what you make chicken salad, you throw peas in it. I ain't eating it. I don't like peas. They're nasty.
There you go. Mike, I appreciate the call, man. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much for bringing us up. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. Mike had a very clear list of what he wanted to talk to me about, but then I threw him a curveball with the item he doesn't want to see on his plate. Guys, to his Craig Biggio point, I love the guy. I love the player, okay? Batted .281 for his career. Is that a Hall of Famer? Okay? Stop throwing out these career statistics, 3,000 hits. Guess how many home runs he had? 291. It's not a Hall of Famer, okay? Like, I don't know why we reward somebody who's good for a long time over somebody who's great and synonymous with an era. Under my definition of the Hall of Fame, Don Mattingly is a Hall of Famer. Craig Biggio is not. And Biggio is my favorite player in the history of the sport. Absolutely loved him. Have all of his cards. When they started talking about him as a shoe-in Hall of Famer, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Based on what? Like, I don't. Like, I always knew him as Craig Biggio, the very good, not great player. 3,000 hits over 20 years is 150 hits a year. Okay. Okay. Like, what would really impress me is how number of seasons with over 200 hits. You know how many seasons Craig Biggio had of that? One season with 200 hits. He was good for a long time. That should be honored. That should be appreciated. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. But greatest of all time, Hall of Fame, what the Hall of Fame should be, should stand for, come on, man. Come on, please. All right. Do you know that Matt Eberflus is the betting favorite to win NFL Coach of the Year? Chicago Bears head coach. I think he's the betting favorite to be fired first this year. But it's interesting. They're forecasting this because they expect the Bears to have a bounce-back season. And this is the time of year where you go through and you guess who's in line to be a success, a surprise success, and who is in line to be a raging disappointment. All right? Now we pose that question to you at 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. And we do this for this reason, okay? Each of the last 3 NFL seasons, there has been a contender that has become a pretender the following season. Who is that for you this year? Who is the contender from 2023 that falls off the map and becomes a pretender in 2024? And if you want to set the bar at a team that won 11 games last year, so a minimum record of 11-6 to be considered a quote-unquote contender, the teams who achieved that last year, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Browns, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, there's 7, the Detroit Lions, there's 8, and the San Francisco 49ers, there's 9. History tells us, my friends, that one of those teams is going to fall off the map. Only this year, I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to give you 2. But before I get to those, let's go through the brief history. Last year, I correctly called this. Look, everyone tells you when you're wrong in this business, so I'm going to toot my own horn when I'm right. My pick was the Minnesota Vikings, who won 8 one-score games in 2022. You talk to analytics people, they say, man, that luck is going to even out, and it did in a big way. They went from 13-4 in 2022 to 7-10 last year. Okay, 7-10 last year. In 2022, the team that fell off the map was the Green Bay Packers. They were 13-4 in 2021 with Aaron Rodgers. They were 8-9 without him. Okay, 8-9 without him, or with a limited Aaron Rodgers, or with an Aaron Rodgers that got beat by the Detroit Lions at the last game of the year to keep them out of the playoffs. 13-4 to a declining Aaron Rodgers, 8-9, right? And then 2021, who was it? It was the Tennessee Titans. They went from 12-5 in 2020 to 7-10 in 2021. So you see, my friends, this team exists every single year, okay? Every single year. And what makes people uncomfortable about this is that it involves predicting something negative, right? Well, if you're a straight shooter, it doesn't bother you at all. It doesn't bother me at all, okay? Because this is what I do. I know the history. I understand the history. We can go through this game by game, team by team, and tell you conclusively that this is going to happen again. So who is it? Out of the Bills, Dolphins, Ravens, Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, and San Francisco 49ers. The team that was a contender last year that is going to fall by the wayside now. Who is it? 1 in the AFC, 1 in the NFC. The Buffalo Bills, my friends, sayonara. Sayonara. Yes, they still have Josh Allen. No, they no longer have Stephon Diggs. Yes, unfortunately for them, they still have Sean McDermott. Now, here's the problem. They won't get rid of Sean McDermott. And they won't do that because he took them from irrelevancy to relevancy. But he is clearly not the guy to get them over the hump. Do you know that the last 6 Super Bowl champions have all been offensive head coaches? So whenever the Bills get to a key spot in the postseason, they get circles coached around them by a cunning, inventive offensive head coach. I think the belief in Sean McDermott is waning. I don't get why they don't move on. Sean, we thank you. You took us to the next level, but now we need somebody that's going to get us to the level after that. All right? I don't know why they don't realize that. I don't know why they don't see that. Okay? I think there's a loss of belief. I think there's a loss of elite receiving options. And I think there's a loss of the Buffalo Bills being mentioned among in the same breath as contenders. Okay? Secondarily, in the NFC, who could possibly fall off from a contender to a pretender next season? Who could it possibly be? I'm going, my friends, with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys because I think there is a fundamental detest for Jerry Jones. I think there's a lack of belief in Dak Prescott. I think they're not going to have a running game at all. And I think the league has figured out Dallas as a team that puts up big-time stats in the regular season and disappears in the postseason. Doesn't play their best when it matters the most, okay? Doesn't play their best when it matters the most. So I'm forecasting, and here's another exercise for you, 16 of the last 18 years, okay? There have been 6 new playoff teams in the NFL. It's a turnover rate of 43%. If your job had that kind of turnover rate, you'd be looking for a new company. You'd be looking for a new line of employment. But in the NFL, that's become commonplace. It was 5 teams out of 12 when we had 12 playoff teams. Now it's 6 teams out of 14 now that we have 14. And it's been this way 16 of the last 18 years. The exercise, the challenge for you on your own time, find me 3 playoff teams from the AFC that are not going to make it this year. Find me 3 playoff teams from last year in the NFC who are not going to make it this year. And tell me who the 6 new playoff teams are going to be. I have missing the playoffs Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland from the AFC. I have missing the playoffs from the NFC, Dallas, Tampa Bay, and the Rams. And in their stead, I have Jacksonville, Cincinnati, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Atlanta Falcons, the Chicago Bears, and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, you could say to me, Mark, do you really believe, would you put money on the Seahawks making the playoffs? Probably not. But in this exercise, that has been right 16 out of 18 years, you got to find somebody, okay? Do I think the Bears are going to make the playoffs in my heart of hearts? Maybe, maybe not. But there are 6 new playoff teams now every single year. And every single year there's at least one team that used to be a contender that is no longer a contender at all. So who's it going to be this year? I nominate Buffalo and Dallas, and I feel really good about that. As a matter of fact, I don't like picking Cleveland to miss the postseason. I think Deshaun is a man on a mission. I think that defense is obviously the best in the NFL. But the problem is, who else are you going to subtract? Okay, who else are you taking away? I think Miami's getting better, not worse, under Mike McDaniel. Okay, you heard me say I didn't pick the Jets to be in the playoffs. Baltimore's not going anywhere. I have Pittsburgh missing the playoffs as well. Okay, Cincinnati is most certainly going to be back in. It becomes a really difficult task to remove 3 teams. You end up trying to guess who is going to be injured or not, right? So there you go. Buffalo and Dallas, the 2 contenders from 2023 that are pretenders in 2024, and I have both missing the playoffs. All right, up next on the show, you're not going to believe one player who just got selected for his first All-Star game, considering how little he's actually played. And no, it's not Mike Trout. My name is Marc Ryan. Great to have you with us. In for Zach Gelb on the Zach Gelb Show on the all-new Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb, the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. Yeah, guys, I mean, look, there are surprise, disappointing teams every year in the NFL. I think the Jets are a very, very good bet to disappoint, but they weren't a contender to begin with, right? I think the Steelers, there's a chance they surprise. By the way, do you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the very epitome of the definition of an average team this year, according to analytics? Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers are ground zero. They're not bad. They're not great. They're the definition of average. The Pittsburgh Steelers are considered to be 0.0 points better than an average team on a neutral field, and that is because the average team is them, right? I think Houston could surprise again, even though we have lofty expectations for them. I think they could potentially go all the way to the AFC Championship game. And as you heard me say, I think Dallas could disappoint. I think Philadelphia is at the level of the very best teams in the NFL, and for some reason people don't think they are. And I'll tell you another thing, man. The hunger, the desire, the passion, the motivation, the leadership job done by Dan Campbell here in Detroit. You want to keep putting them outside the top 5 in your odds to win the Super Bowl, rank them outside of the top 5 in your top 5 rosters. The reason is the Lions don't have a guy you would say, that guy is the word we discussed. They don't have a superstar, okay? Offensive linemen are not superstars. Who is the superstar? Amon-Ra St. Brown? How many people do you think would recognize Amon-Ra St. Brown in South Dakota walking around? None, right? So the team doesn't have a superstar, but the roster is increíble. Stu, your team that was a contender in 2023 that falls off in 2024, who you got?
I would say, and again, it's hard that they say they were contenders, but the fact that they won 11 games last year, I just don't see the Cleveland Browns replicating that. Even with a healthy Deshaun Watson, the division's so tough with the Ravens, and the Bengals are going to be
Number
better.
one overall defense, Stu. Number one overall defense, buddy.
Yeah, I know the defense is good. I just don't see it. I don't see them. I could easily see them dropping out of playoffs, finishing 3rd or 4th in their division, and there's just so much competition in the AFC, especially from that division and the AFC East, where I just don't see them being as good.
Wow, how about that? Browns dropping off, according to Stu Kovacs today. 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. I love this segment, and I actually did this segment a little bit differently than the Zach Gelb Show guys do. But in the Carolinas, guys, my local show was called Offsides with Marc Ryan. And so I love coming on this show, and every time we get to do onsides or offsides, and let's roll with it right now.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
All right, Mark, so we have a few questions here. We'll start in the NBA. New Sixer Paul George announced on his podcast that he'll be wearing the number 8 jersey, the first time he won't be wearing number 13 since the 2015 season. He joins a core with the Sixers of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, who just signed a $204 million extension of his own. So onsides or offsides, the Sixers will win an NBA title with Embiid, Maxey, and George.
No. And they're not even going to get close. This is clearly an offsides.
Offside.
It's offsides for me, and it's not even close. You know, look, guys, they always say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Smart people learn from their mistakes. Smarter people learn from other people's mistakes. Paul George is 34. Play starts to decline at the age of 33. In my opinion, we've already seen that with Paul George. Now, the Sixers had to do something. I love Maxey. I think he's a stud. I think Embiid is too frequently available. The best ability, my friends, is availability, right? And he's too infrequently available. So no chance do they win an NBA championship with Paul George. Next up.
The MLB All-Star Reserves were announced on Sunday, and it didn't go without controversy. Among them is the selection of Pirates rookie phenom Paul Skeens, who made the roster despite making just 10 starts on the season, although he does have an ERA of just 2.12 to go along with 78 strikeouts in just 59 innings of work. So onsides, offsides, Paul Skeens deserves to make the All-Star team despite his limited workload so far.
Yes, and I'm so glad that Major League Baseball gets it. This is a clear onsides for me. Going onsides, and I'll tell you, Stu, look, how many starts does a normal starter have right now in baseball? 16 to 18. He's got 10. But what did he do in these 10? He's become must-watch TV overnight, okay? We've moved on from what is earned a long time ago, okay? We've long since moved on from that. We now want to be entertained. Those entities that understand that sports are entertainment, Caitlin Clark should have been on the Olympic team, she isn't, are going to be a cut above. I am more likely to watch the MLB All-Star Game because I can see Mr. Livy Dunn, Paul Skeens. By the way, did you hear Livy Dunn herself is not done? She's coming back to LSU for a 5th year. I think this is the right move. Stu Kovacs, what do you say? Right move, wrong move? Paul Skeens.
I think it is the right move, and we see all these guys when they get older, the likes of Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, just a few of those guys, Cal Ripken back in the day. Like, they make the team when they've accomplished so much, even though they aren't maybe one of the 50 best players in the sports anymore. I think Skeens is so electrifying that even though he doesn't have the huge track record so far, he's must-watch TV, and I think because of that, he should be an all-star. And like you said, like it gives you more reason to watch just to see this guy pitch.
Yeah. And when was the last time we had a guy come into the majors who didn't need a learning curve? You know, he didn't need to adjust to anything. Like, his stuff right out of school is unhittable by Major League Baseball standards. Okay? That's Paul Skeens. That's who he is. Blown away, man. Absolutely blown away. He should be there. Next up.
The Brandon Ayuk drama just won't stop as the 49ers wide receiver posted a picture on his TikTok watching Commanders film. Now, as of right now, Ayuk will play under his 5th-year option this season as he looks for a contract extension, with the Commanders and Steelers as 2 possible destinations. So onsides, offsides, the 49ers need Ayuk this season if they want to win the Super Bowl.
Yes, they need him. But I am of the belief that ability-wise, Ayuk is not one of these top 5 receivers in the NFL. I think his success, I think Kyle Shanahan could have success with a lot of guys in that field, and therein lies the rub. He's saying he's a $30 million wide receiver. The 49ers are saying you are replaceable, and I think in the end, he is most certainly going to be replaceable. Now, the worst thing you can do is thumb your nose at your employer, and that's precisely what he's doing. I don't need you guys to tell me this, but if we did the radio version of this, if we said, you're not meeting my contract demands, I'm going to post some videos of our competitors. How quickly would you and I be out the door? Okay? There's a level of entitlement here that is frankly gross. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm looking for a trade partner already. The 49ers, it's true, it's on sides that they need him to win the Super Bowl, but I'd move on from him anyway because I think their Super Bowl window has already closed. No active coach has won a Super Bowl with his team after year 7. 9 have done so. None have done it after year 7. Kyle Shanahan is entering year 8. Next up.
Klay Thompson's departure from the Warriors this offseason officially signals the end of Golden State's dynasty. His longtime running mate Steph Curry was asked about the dynasty ending at Team USA training camp and said, quote, "I don't think it'll be replicated just because it's very hard to keep things together in this league. A lot more player movement. Me, Klay, and Draymond, we complemented each other so well for so long," end of quote. So onsides, offsides, we have seen the last NBA dynasty because of how frequently players move in the league.
So here's what's fascinating to me, guys. I'm going to say this is offsides. This
Offside.
is not true. We are going to see a dynasty again. Here's what I don't get. The NBA is coming up with rules to prevent dynasty, right? Like the 3-tiered luxury tax system. But dynasties have been great for television ratings. So if they're great for your business, why are you making moves to get rid of them? I don't fully understand that at all. I believe if you look at what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing, like what was their Achilles heel? What did they need? They needed leadership. They needed perimeter defense. They needed a big man down low. What did they address? What did they get? Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein. Guys, you look at the youthful talent on that team. You look at how they're growing into their team and growing into their roles. You can't tell me there's not going to be another dynasty. If we define a dynasty, that's what's important. I define a dynasty as at least 3 championships in an 8-year window. Okay? We're never going to have another dynasty? Come on, Steph. We most certainly are. That is offsides. And finally.
All right, so last one. It was a rough day on Saturday for Cubs reliever Colton Brewer. He just got 2 outs against the Angels while surrendering 3 runs on 2 hits with 2 walks, and he also hit a batter. To add to the disaster, he suffered a broken hand after punching the dugout wall in frustration. So onsides, offsides, suffering a self-inflicted injury is the worst thing that an athlete can do on the field of play.
Oh, boy. That is really bad. Do you remember, Stu, there was once a player, I'm trying to remember the name, he got injured having sex. You know, that's what they mean when they say love hurts. Because you have declared yourself an idiot when something like this happens, okay? And I feel for him because here we are talking about him on the show, okay? I will say this, would it not be the most perfect thing ever if Colton Brewer ever became a Milwaukee Brewer? Brewer is a Brewer. I think we should go for that. He's deserving of a fresh start. I don't get the temper, man. It's just sports. It's just sports. What are we doing? So that is onsides. It is the worst thing that an athlete can do on the field of play. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's onsides or offsides on a Monday edition of the Zach Gelb Show. Where did you agree? Where did you disagree? 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. I have 3 major changes to propose in sports that should be adopted by the sports leagues and you immediately. That's next. Great to have you with us. My name is Marc Ryan on the Zach Gelb Show, the Infinity Sports Network, and now it's time for a sports update with Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Mark, Lakers struck out with Dan Hurley, offered $70 million over 6 years. Now Hurley gets a 6-year deal, $50 million from UConn as the 2-time defending national champs, rewarding their coach who led the Huskies to a 68-11 record over the last couple of years, dominating the field on their way to back-to-back titles, winning all 12 games by double digits. Bengals finished last in a competitive AFC North after the injury to Joe Burrow. Burrow seems to think that the pundits have forgotten that before the injury, he led Cincinnati to back-to-back years in the postseason, a Super Bowl loss, along with an AFC Championship game appearance, and he's looking to remind everyone, as courtesy of the Part of My Take podcast.
And that's part of the game. If you're not out there and people aren't watching you, then there's nothing to talk about. I'm going to give people something to talk about this year.
Taking a look at baseball, you got the Cardinals in front of the Nationals 2-0, bottom 6. Paul Goldschmidt has gone deep. 1 finals. The Pirates rocked the Mets 8-2. O'Neill Cruz homered, while Mitch Keller gave up just 2 runs over 8 with 6 Ks. NBA Pelicans adding veteran forward Daniel Tyson at Wimbledon. American Jack Fritz stunned 4th-seeded Alexander Zverev in 5 sets. This after dropping the first 2. I'm Marco Belletti.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
Marc Ryan in for Zach Gelb. Here today on the Zach Gelb Show, the all-new Infinity Sports Network. It is time to answer our Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Question comes from Joe in Connecticut. How many more titles does Dan Hurley win at UConn following his contract extension? He is on his way. This is a man on the mission. This is a guy, a high-intensity guy. Normally, Nick Saban's telling you can't yell at players today. Like today's player doesn't deal with that well. He's pressing all the right buttons. Who are you picking over UConn with that guy at the helm? And what I love about Dan Hurley is that he showed you that it's not all about money. Turned down 6 years and $70 million from the Lakers to take 6 years and $50 million from the UConn Huskies. How about that? Can I get an amen for that? I absolutely love when that happens. So I'm going to go, Dan Hurley is going to win 3 more titles in his next 6 years as head coach of UConn. What about that? We will be talking about a dynasty. They will meet the criteria of my dynasty. 3 titles, at least 3 titles in a 6-year period. You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Andy from Texas has been hanging patiently on the line. Andy, you're on the Zach Gelb Show with Marc Ryan. What's good, man? How are you?
Hey, I can't complain, man. The hurricane missed Corpus Christi, so we are in a good place.
Man, listen, man, I grew up by there in Houston, Texas, Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi, if you guys don't know, you better ask somebody. Do they still have the best sand dunes known to man?
They do. We have National Seashore that's amazing, beaches. You can drive on some of our beaches. It is a hidden gem, so don't tell everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what do you got for me, Andy? The food you do not want to see. I'm told you called in about the food you never want to see on your barbecue plate. What's that for you?
Well, 2 things. One, and this may offend some people, but in Texas, if you invite people to a barbecue and you give them hot dogs, they will leave your barbecue. Hot dogs and hamburgers do not qualify. It has to be something that cooks low and slow for a long time, vis-a-vis brisket, ribs, pork butt, chickens, turkey. But if it's something that quickly grills, that better be for the kids. Secondly, don't ever give me any kind of sauce that involves mayonnaise that I'm supposed to put meat in. That is
you're
highly
right.
offensive.
You're right. Hey, before you go, Andy, can I mention something that's likely to offend you? Okay?
Yeah, sure.
And I think I'm allowed to say this. Andy's like, yeah, sure, offend me. I think I'm allowed to say this, Andy, because I grew up in Houston. I think the crawfish boil is the most disgusting thing on earth. People don't realize this. You hear crawfish boil. If this isn't part of your part of the country, let me describe it to you, okay? Colton, have you ever been to a crawfish boil? Colton, guesser?
Close to
Yes
it.
or no? Close to it. He says close to it. Here's what's involved in it, ladies and gentlemen. They put crawfish on your plate. You have to dismember the crawfish, and then you get the waste of the crawfish on your hands. And they tell you, don't worry, it's been cooked. Andy, I'm out. I'm out on the ripping the head off of the crawfish. I'm out of dismembering it. I'm out of having its waste on my hands, and it's okay because it's cooked. It's not okay with me, Andy. Get the crawfish out of here for me, please. What do you say?
I say 100% agree, other than to say spicy corn and spicy potatoes are a great reason to drink way too much beer.
Yes. See, that's the thing. Whenever I find myself at a crawfish boil, they have like the corn that they put. It's so spicy it'll light up your life, man. Why is that? Why is that? Why not? Hey, Andy, thanks for the call. I'm getting double buzzed here. Thankfully, they haven't kicked me off the show yet. Andy, I appreciate the call. Who doesn't like what here? Between you and Stu, Colton. What's going on here? You don't like spicy corn?
No, I think you're way off on this, by the way. I'm
Why?
like team crawfish boil and crab boils.
Well,
I'm like all of this team. So that's
well,
why
are you from Texas?
I'm not from Texas, but like we have crab
Okay.
boils here
Well-
in Jersey. Like, what are you talking
Well,
about?
I
It's the
am
same
from
thing.
Texas.
You're dismembering the crab, and you got the stuff you got to clean. It's delicious. It's a great time. It's a great.
I am
it's a great
from
family
Texas.
bonding time. Come on, Mark.
I am from Texas. Andy's from Texas. Okay? Therefore, sir, your opinion is invalidated on this matter. I hereby declare I'm Marc Ryan and I approve this message. No, Colton, I hear you, and I obviously know I'm in the minority because so many people and their mother like it. It's just, do you realize at these boils, you get the crawfish crud on your hands? Okay? It's on your hands. I'm not eating that. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. I got to take an animal apart. No, thank you. It's gross. All right, guys, what do you say I give you 3 ideas that should be adopted by you immediately, okay, that dramatically and clearly improve sports? Now, Colton has already gotten us off to the buzzer start, and I can't imagine that there's not more buzzers in my future. But here's what I would say. Idea to improve sports number 1, all right? The three-point shot is damaging to the game of basketball aesthetically. It doesn't make the game pretty. The percentage of shots that are three-pointers has risen from 16% in 1991 to 22% in 2010 to 39% last season. Guys, this is not what the game of basketball is supposed to be. So what do I propose? You get to decide. Here's the fundamental problem. I'm surprised that the analytics nerds didn't figure this out to begin with. 50% is a great percentage to shoot from two-point land, right? Well, 50% of a two-point shot is how many points? 1. What's 33% of a three-point shot? 1 point. You can shoot a relatively poor percentage from 3, and it's the same as a very efficient percentage from 2. So what are you going to do? You're going to jack up three-pointers all game long. You have one option, okay? I'm going to give you 2 options because I'm in a good mood today. You can move the three-point line back a foot to disincentivize the taking of the shots. You would then realize that you need to widen the court a little bit because you have very little room in the corners, which should be done anyway. You should never be stepping out of bounds when you're just trying to get your feet behind the three-point line. Or you could make the rim a centimeter or 2 smaller. Now, do you guys realize how many of you know that I'm already getting buzzed. already getting buzzed. Listen to this. I'm getting buzzed multiple times. You would think I said wordy dirds here on the air today. Do you guys realize that the basketball is exactly half the size of the rim, half the circumference of the rim? So you make it 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters smaller. You have fewer distance shots. It's harmful to the game. Colton, why am I wrong?
You talked about Steph Curry changing the game before.
I'm making the game better.
What did he do? Shot the 3 ball and changed the game, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, but it's. I don't think 39% of the shots are supposed to be threes. You know, it feels like you're watching like an and one tape when you watch an NBA game these days. It's dunks and three-pointers. Number 2 idea in sports that I have for you right now, okay? And it is, my friends, a doozy. Do you know that the average major leaguer right now is batting .232, okay? That is the lowest ever. There are exactly 12 players in Major League Baseball hitting above 300 right now. That also is the lowest ever. What I propose is move the mound back by 1 foot, from 60 foot 6 inches to 61 feet 6 inches. And, you know, why is that important? Because pitchers are now throwing 2 miles an hour faster. Batters aren't reacting quicker. Pitchers are just throwing harder, 2 miles an hour faster, okay? I want the hitters to have a chance again. I'm moving the mound back by a single foot, okay, because it's time to make a change in the game. We see this from time to time. Oh, come on. Listen, am I going to get a single buzz here today? We see this from time to time. In the NFL, they moved the extra point back. Why? Because kickers were making it 99.8% of the time. Wasn't always that way. Became that way. They became too good. So you adjust the game to make things more unpredictable. The pitchers are too dominant, man. I'm telling you, they're too dominant. Colton, I'm right here. I know I'm right, but why do you think I'm wrong?
Have you not seen all the arm injuries we have in baseball? I see Stu looking at me, too, and he's pointing the finger down. He agrees with me on this one. Stu?
I do agree with Colton. I just think to move the mound back, I think, would not be beneficial for pitchers in terms of, like, injuries.
You don't have to overthrow. You got to learn not to overthrow, okay? I want to see hitting, gentlemen. 232 batting average doesn't do it for me. Offense in Major League Baseball needs the little blue pill, okay? And I haven't heard any ideas from you guys as to how we're going to get it.
Well, I'm very confused. Didn't you just have onsides, offsides, and Paul Skeens is in your onside that it's great for baseball?
Correct.
Last time I checked, he's blowing the ball by people at 102, 101 with ease, and he's sitting down batters left and right. But hold on, wait a minute, Mark. But you don't want him in the but we want him back up the mound, so we see more hitting.
Okay.
We're seeing the special pitching, Mark. Come on.
Listen. Take your horses and hold them for just 1 second, please, okay? Paul Skeens is a star. I don't think a rookie should be able to come into the bigs and do what he's doing. I don't think that should happen. You know, I want to tilt the balance of power has been tilted too much in favor of the hitters, of the pitchers these days. And finally, my last idea, can I get an ever-loving ding? I don't even know if the ding exists anymore. I'm over penalty kicks in soccer. I'm over them. They have nothing to do with the game being played, and they decide everything. And 90% of the time, the best team doesn't even win the penalty kicks, okay? I'm over it. Instead of penalty kicks, here's what I suggest. You play the extra time, right? You take a player off the pitch every 5 minutes. So you got 2 periods of 15 minutes. I can go from 11 after 5 minutes, it's 10 on 10. After 10 minutes, it's 9 on 9. After 15 minutes, it's 8 on 8, okay? I want a goal playing the regular game or as close to the regular game as we possibly can. Screw penalty kicks. Can I get an amen? Can a guy get a get a single ding for one time in his life? No, I can't, can I? I can't.
No,
I can't.
I hate penalty kicks at times, but I don't think doing that is the way to do it. I don't think
what
there's
is
a
the
better
way to do it? There is a better way. In hockey, they play until you score. Why can't you do that in soccer? Because you don't want people dying. So I want to see a goal. I don't want to see a PK. In hockey, is there a limit on how long you can play before you have sudden death? No. You play until you score. You play the same game that you always played in the postseason. Why can't we get the same thing? Goodness gracious, guys, if I was a major league hitter, I'd be sent down to the minor leagues. I was 0 for 3 on my ideas with you, but that's okay. Colton Gesser, big thanks. Stu Kovacs, big thanks. Thank you to you guys. Thanks to Zach Gelb, David Marinick for the opportunity as well. Had a blast. JR Sport Brief is coming your way next. Thanks so much for listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the all-new Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.